Murphy's going to probably explain a lot of this to us. First, I think we need to do is the open records and the open meeting laws. As a commissioner, when we went into the executive session, did you violate any of those?
I never like to say whether or not it's been violated because that is a judge or jury's question.
In our opinion, we need to get a ruling on that so we know right out there.
I'll say this, executive session is for discussing the legal ramifications of different decisions of the commission. Okay. If there were discussions, because I haven't listened to the tape, if there were discussions outside the legal ramifications, that's outside of the scope of what is supposed to happen during the executive session.
Okay, so at this time, you do not listen to the tape whatsoever.
I have none.
Okay, my next question is the information on the tape confidential or not confidential? If the tape is confidential, it's open to nobody. If it's open to everybody, we release the tape and we go from there.
The discussions about legal ramifications are confidential. Anything beyond that is not.
Okay, so at this time, you need to tell me whether or not that tape should be closed to the public information or open to the public information. I can't argue the point whether what we did, in my opinion, and until the Attorney General tells me otherwise, what I did at that meeting was illegal, in my opinion. Because I went through all the steps that I needed to do. So when you tell me whether or not that is confidential for us, or for me, or whether it's open, then I can go on from there and make another decision. As far as your letter concerned, that we'll sit down and make sure the tape hasn't been tampered with, I don't think we can get somebody from the general public to come in and listen to the tape and determine that, because if it's confidential, that's my part, I'm opening it up, and it should not be.
Well, the only people who know if the tape is as it was when the discussion occurred are the 4 people that were in the room at the time that the discussion happened.
Exactly.
So
So why, if it's confidential, Paul, I can't bring somebody from the outside and have them listen to it. I can't go and get Darryl and bring him in and have him listen to this tape. We need to find out whether or not that tape should have been held or it should be available to the public.
well,
I think you need to listen to the tape and make a ruling for us as a commissioner. I'm asking you for legal advice in that direction.
okay. I can't make, I mean, I can get the tape analyzed whether or not it's been altered, which I really don't think it has been altered. I don't know.
I think that's the report side.
Right, it's for somebody else who's got more scientific knowledge about audio tapes than I do, decide. But, discussions among commissioners,
It's been reported.
right, are generally open to the public. The only thing that is not open is discussing legal issues. And if what's on the tape is not a legal issue, then it is open. The people that I have talked to at the Attorney General's office and the other state's attorneys have indicated to me that there may have been an open meeting violation going into executive session, but by virtue of the fact that the tape has been released almost immediately, the violation may have been cured. Now, whatever was said on that, curing that might be a whole other process, but the open meeting violation may have been cured by the almost immediate release of the tape. That was the feedback I got. Now, the hardest part about this for me is that say this. Any executive session tape should not be released to the public by whoever has the tape. If there was a violation, if there's a lawsuit that forces the release or reviews it to see if there was an open meeting violation, at that point, it could and should be released if there's a violation there. But the tape was released prior to any of that. And not only that, but I mean, I'm not hiding anything that nobody already knows. It wasn't just that executive session that the tape had on it. It was every other executive session. Now, I don't know.
What do you mean every other executive session?
Well, prior executive sessions were also on that tape. But what we're talking about today is,
No, we're talking about the whole tape.
well, I know,
We
but
just can't isolate certain parts of it.
I know, but specifically, the violation that we're talking about is a week ago Tuesday, or a suspected violation, okay? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, but what we talked about at that executive meeting all ties together. One thing led to another. It's all on the same agenda. What we did with the emergency management all tied in together on that tape. I do believe that if you go back and look at the Attorney General's ruling of what happened in Dallas City when they were going to reprimand the police chief, it started off as reprimand the chief police and it got tied into something else. It all fed together. The Attorney General's opinion was that there is no violation. It all ties together.
And that remains to be seen.
Okay, so at this time, I think you need to review the tape and determine whether or not it should be available to the public.
Well,
If it is available, we're gonna release it.
The question becomes irrelevant because the tape is out there.
We got it back.
We have the original back, but I don't believe that's the only copy. So it's out there.
Okay, so
It's
it's
out
out there. But we're not gonna release it and we're not gonna discuss it because there may be a lawsuit that comes against us.
Well, we could, you and whoever you get to advise you as far as legally.
You are our legal counsel. At this time, are you stepping down? That's what I'm asking. You're telling me you're playing fine line. You can't do roll call. You can't?
I understand, Paul, I know what I can do, okay?
Okay.
And when it gets to the point where it's a conflict, I will step up. That probably should be either within 5 minutes or right now. But what I'm saying is, generally speaking, an executive session is about legal ramifications of the actions of the commission. Whether or not there's been a violation, I don't make that call. They make that call from the bench or from the Attorney General's office. Whether or not it all flowed from hiring an emergency management person or not, that's not my call.
Okay, that's what we need to find out.
Procedurally, I can address some of the things procedurally, depending on what we want to do with this.
statement on this thing. If it's available to the public, we give it to whoever wants it, not whoever, we give them a copy of it, or we give them a transcript, they pay accordingly for it. They can take matters into their hands and determine if it was an illegal meeting, and then the Attorney General and go to the court system. We cannot sit here and go through it with somebody and determine whether or not that table's been altered. I'm not the expertise in that. They are so good at doing that that I couldn't tell you that. If it comes out in court and they want me to testify what I did at that meeting, I can do that, but I can't do it in a general bidding like this.
Well, I cannot make the determine whether there was a violation any more than you can. It's up to the judge or the Attorney General's office to make that determination if there was a violation.
We
Okay?
can do that.
But what I'm saying is, whether or not there was a violation doesn't preclude the commission from reconsidering their action, from taking a look at what happened and making changes to what they did last Tuesday. Nothing changes that. Whether there was a violation or not does not change the fact that the commission can make a motion to reconsider and take a look at what happened. Okay? And that can be done today. Whether or not there's a violation is up to somebody else's decision. It's not my decision. So that's the point where I'm at with this, where I need to say that's about as far as I'm comfortable going. I can talk to you about what procedurally can be done to reconsider actions by the commission. I can talk to you about what is proper within an executive session, but when we get into specifics as far as what's on the tape, I can listen to it, what specifically to do with emergency management, this employee, that employee, with the exception of the fact that my employees are my decision, Manel's employees are her decision, Roger's employees are his decision, the sheriff's department employees are Mike's decision. Other than that, I'm not gonna get into the specifics on this tape, this hiring.
Then if you're not going to, then why didn't you send us this letter that we're going to redo the tape with Josh?
Because at that point, and this isn't giving legal advice, okay? This is
what you recommended to us. Is that
I
legal
said-
advice or not?
I said, these are possible,
That's legal advice if it's possible.
can I finish? Just wait. This is possible resolutions to an issue that came up, okay? This was, just a minute. This was because at the point where we were at when I wrote this letter, there was still possibility, or there was at least some kind of open dialogue between the parties, and in order to get parties at the table considering the avenues in which to resolve this issue, those are what I put in that letter. It's not legal advice. I'm not saying, you guys did this, he did that. I didn't say, this is wrong, these are the legal ramifications. I didn't talk about the legal ramifications of that letter.
So you're, with this letter, basically what you're saying is that we're going to negotiate.
I'm saying,
If I say that, okay, we're going to negotiate this, I've just taken care of 2 people. I got 1,600 people in the county that could possibly come back and say, well, you negotiate with him, you negotiate with me, and I'm going to take you to court because I think it's open meeting records. Is the tape?
1,600 people in the county have not been in this process and have not been either passed over or hired for a job. We're talking about 2 or 3 people that are involved in this process.
I got a lot of them here. Well, everybody's involved now, Paul, because everybody's got a tape.
I understand, but there's only so many people that have what's called standing to sue. And an open meetings violation, everybody has standing to sue. But when we're talking about this particular employment issue, there's only a few people that have a dog in the fight. And that's what I'm talking about in that letter.
Well, I guess what, after the meeting last Tuesday, I got Josh come up after the meeting, and I'm gonna be open with you. He come up and, said that he had the right to know why we went according to the information that we got on why we hired an emergency manager that we did. We, as you read in the paper, that Eddie County wanted to merge with us, that they, we called them after they had, their applicants, and they hired Lindsay, our understanding of it. We put it out in the paper, we had 5 people apply for the job. We interviewed for the 5th person we called. She didn't want to be interviewed because it was a part-time position. So she wasn't interested in it at that time. We interviewed the 4 of them that night. We decided that that night we were not going to make a decision. Everybody go home and sleep on it, and when we come back for our December meeting, we would decide on it. When I talked to Josh in the sheriff's office, one-on-one, he accused me of illegal meetings. The decision was made prior to. I said, no, it was not made prior to that meeting on the thing. For the simple reason that is, you can listen on the tape. It took us 45 minutes to come up with this solution and who we were going to hire and what we were going to do. So I think as far as being made in advance, it was not. We did what was best for the county. It is our judgment with the information that was given to us, and we are going to move forward. And my opinion is we are going to stand firm with that. And I don't know if the other two got anything to say.
I'm going to say this. I think that if you're going to give your piece, you're going to have to give the other side time to say their piece.
Yep.
And before you make the decision on whether you're going to stand firm, you need to talk to legal counsel about what the most prudent course of action is. And I can't be that, so you're going to have to get somebody else.
Okay, so then the meeting is over as of right now.
Well,
Because we need legal counsel.
it doesn't have to be over. What I'm saying is, if you're going to make the decision that we're going to stand pat on this, that needs to be made after you discuss it with legal counsel.
Okay, so then as of this time, I'm going to make a motion that we close this meeting until we get legal counsel on hand to represent us.
Hang on.
Who's the chairman? Question. I haven't heard anything from you.
I'm a commissioner. I got the right to ask questions according to how I feel.
And I should give you the right to respond to things you've already opened up.
But as of right now, he's telling me that I need legal counsel. I want legal counsel on hand if I'm going to make that
I still get to
decision.
respond to something you've already put forth before you close the meeting, without allowing for any of us to talk.
And I did say that if you're going to give your version of the story, I think it's only fair to give both sides their version of the story.
But not required, right? You think it's fair, but it's not required that they give their side. You said it's only fair, but it's not required by law, correct? So then, I'm with Mr. Straley, the meeting should be over.
I'll put it this way.
Our piece will be held either way.
Yeah. They can sit and see what I have to say, whether you guys are having a meeting or not.
I'll put it this way. There are ways to conduct meetings that is going to foster a resolution, and there are ways to conduct meetings that are going to not foster resolution. And if you don't give the other side time to respond, it's probably going to get a lot worse. And that's not out of fear, it's out of fairness.
But
I think we should all resign.
Legal counsel for us.
But
At this time, we're sending out legal counsel. I don't know, as a commission, if we can continue to do this without legal counsel on hand. We might be digging a deeper hole than what we got right now. Does everybody understand that? If we do that, I mean, we have to have legal counsel on hand. Our legal counsel has just said that he's out of the picture.
Why can't you just hear both sides? There would be no decision made in anyways where you're legal counsel.
If we don't have our legal counsel on hand, we're gonna go back and we're gonna go through this whole thing again.
Well, that's fine, but let's hear Lindsay's side.
Her side is in the paper already.
It's if I don't have legal, I have to have legal counsel on my side to protect the county.
Because you violated laws.
You just told us that we didn't violate laws. The only person that can
You
determine
said
that.
you couldn't buy something, that's what he said. Now, you do what
Okay.
you want here. Commissioner Carr told me with his own mouth that you had hired a person before the meeting, and he told me, Josh, I know it's wrong, I wish you could have did something about it. Are you gonna deny that, Commissioner Carr?
I heard 3 weeks ago that she was hired.
That was.
There was no
information
decision,
you thought
as far as I know, there was
rest-
no decision made until we had the meeting.
Okay, so wink, wink, hush, hush, there was no decision made.
Well, I don't know how it,
I think-
I know that she was hired 3 weeks ago. I don't know who
Your
said.
story has
I don't know who
changed
said.
from the first time I
I
talked to
am,
you.
what?
Your story has changed since the first time I talked to you.
I don't know how it ever got out.
Maybe because your new hire told me herself that she was in communications with Mr. Straley.
And Auditor
Auditor
Schultz.
Schultman, that she had the job shortly after our interviews took place on November 16th.
No,
She
that's
told me
not.
that was thrown out.
That
So
was
if you
not.
have an issue, maybe you should ask.
You're good at pointing that finger too.
I'm gonna tell you something. I made a phone call to her to see if she would be interested in that position.
That's not what
Long
she,
term.
that's not what she said.
I don't care what she said. I can't tell you what she said.
So
I'm
your
gonna
new
tell you
hire
what I
doesn't have any
think.
integrity?
Huh?
Your new hire doesn't have any integrity and she lied to cause conflict, is that the case?
No,
Well, I don't think that's the case either because you're the one that's lying.
no, I'm not lying.
I'm gonna ask you right now to resign and try and save this county a lot of money and problems.
No, I'm.
You committed illegal actions and there's multiple people within the county that will agree to it. The tape has been listened to
Fine,
by legal authorities on my side of this position
fine.
that have told me that you committed crimes. There is nothing in the minutes that reflect much of what was discussed in that meeting. How did you come to the terms that you came to without any prior discussion within the council?
That's my decision.
That's your decision, so you can go.
That's my
You act
decision.
on, does he act on behalf of you, Jim? Does he act on behalf of you?
I am one of three.
No, you said it was
I
your
just said that was
decision.
my decision, not our decision. It was my decision. I come up with that. I still have to get 2 other votes.
I haven't heard either one of these other commissioners say a word today. Are you intimidating them at the meeting?
No, I am not. I got this in front of me, and I was gonna stick to my agenda. I wanted to know, because in my opinion, if that tape is confidential,
Notice I
we
didn't
don't
have
need
to
to
write
have this
anything
conversation.
down. It's easy when you write to keep your story straight. When you make up lies, you have to write things down.
No, I wanna know what order we need to do things.
Okay.
So I'm asking at this time, I think that we do need to go, Mr. Murphy, recess this until we get legal counsel on that.
I can't make a motion to adjourn.
I'm gonna make that motion that we do recess this meeting. When the next one is, the public will be notified, and we will have legal counsel on hand to continue
I
this.
don't believe the commission has even spoke upon what this meeting was posted for.
What is it posted for? I'd like to see the posting of what was all on this.
Roger, do you have that?